Hey guys, and welcome to the channel. I am VolleyTank. We're going to be showing you how to install MS-DOS and Windows 3.11 in a virtual machine with networking and sound card drivers. And we're going to be doing it through Virt-manager, so you have a GUI and everything's nice and simple. So we're going to be doing this on Debian SID. And the first thing you want to do is make sure that your CPU supports virtualization. The 4790K does. You can just search it online, see if you have an Intel. I believe they call it VTD, and AMD is IOMU, I believe. And then you want to set your virtualization. You want to enable it in your BIOS, which you can consult your motherboard's manual for all that. And the first thing we're going to do is set up our bridge for the networking, right? So you should put for your main interface, which in this case mine is ENO1, you might have ETH0 or ENSP or whatever. So you'll set your line up like this, and then you'll set up your bridge down here. I like to call it VM-bro. It's up to you. You can call it bro or whatever. And then you're just going to set up DHCP or static if you want that. And then you got to make sure, this is the important part. So bridge ports ENO1, so it's just telling it to bridge to this interface. And then these two commands right here. And then after you do that, you can just you can if up VM-bro, and then you should be set to go. If that doesn't work, you can always restart, and then that'll definitely do it. And then you also want to, so as root, or if you like to use sudo, you want to get the packages necessary for virtualization. So it's qemu bridge utils, and then Virt-manager. Well, you want to put install in here, and you can see I've already got it. And we're going to be working out of this directory right here. So here's all our stuff. This is our driver disk, our CD-ROM floppy, and our DOS floppies. Some notes that's going to help me and you get through this. And then your Windows ISO. And I'm going to have a link to this exact zip file that I'm using here. But before we do that, I want to show you one other thing. So we're going to get a package here. Gen ISO image. So what you can do with this is you can make an ISO image to use for your virtual machine out of files in a directory. So like, for example, this Windows 3.11 directory, we're going to make an ISO from that. And this is an old name. I was using this as a USB hard drive, so I could have a fresh start for you guys, so you could see that everything works from scratch. So these days I go by VolleyTank, but and then we're going to name this. So this will be our output.iso, and then we're going to tell it the directory that we want to pull it from. So now, as you can see, I typed in this command and we have an ISO here with all our stuff in it, which is cool. And that can help you guys out if there's some extra drivers or something you want. But we're going to go over some drivers that we're going to be using and what we're not going to be using. But I'll give you, you guys will have access to all this. So we have AMD PCNet, which is a driver we're going to use for a for the network card. And I'm going to show you how to set that up. It's a little different. You can't do everything through GUI with this method. Disc 1 is some games. It's BOWEP, Best of Windows Entertainment Pack. We've got DOS Idle, which we won't be installing for this tutorial, but it basically lets DOS idle the CPU because DOS tends to want to use 100%. E1000 is another network driver for a qemu network card. Gus is a sound driver that we won't be using. MS Client is a DOS internet client, so if you want DOS to connect to the internet, you can install this with your AMD PCNet, which AMD PCNet has a DOS and a Windows driver in there. But we're only going to be setting up the Windows driver for this. RTL 8139, this is another qemu driver. I've got this to work in the past. I haven't been able to get it to work recently, so I'm just going to use AMD PCNet. You can try this one out if you want. It comes with a DOS and a Windows one as well. And SoundBlaster16 is what we're going to be using for our sound card. These are the drivers we'll be installing. SVGA is basically a driver for VMware compatibility. I've been unsuccessful in getting this to work in qemu, so we're just going to use the default resolutions and everything will be fine. You don't really need this, but if you wanted to use this, you would extract these to a folder and then you would run VGA patch. The command while you're in the directory is VGA patch space P, and then it's going to patch this SVGA 256.drv, and then you point Windows to this directory to install your video card and it'll install it, or whatever directory you extracted it from. TCP/32 is our internet protocol to connect to modern networks. Windows for Workgroups Y2K update is an update that will allow files to have the correct dates and stuff. And then WQGHLT is just like DOS idle, but it's for Windows. And then of course we got Internet Explorer 501, which we may try out just to see if everything's working okay. But this is the directory we're going to be working out of, and you guys will have access to all these. I'll have a link in the description for that. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and we're going to open up our virtual machine manager, which I absolutely love this program. Okay, so you want to do local install media. Use ISO image. It doesn't really matter because we're going to have to change this anyways. But to set up your pool, so I'll show you this real quick. So you will do like Windows, file system directory, browse, go to your directory that you want your pool to be, and you just click open, finish. And then here we are. We got all our stuff right here. So we're just going to pick something because this doesn't really matter. It's going to fail and we're going to have to change it. We're going to set it 64 megabytes and 1 CPU. And then we're going to create a custom storage. I'm just going to create it in this directory so everything's in the same place. Then we're going to name it Windows 3.11.qcal and 2.0 gigabytes. Now I use qcal2 because it has like sparse files and stuff, so if your VM is only using 1 gig out of your 2 gig hard drive, it's not going to take 2 gig on your host, which is good. You can also use VMDK if you want VMware compatibility or RAW for a RAW file disk, but that's not super important, but we're just going to be using qcal2 for this tutorial. And then let's see what we want to do here. Yep. Forward. We want to make sure to customize configuration before install. And here we've already set up our bridge, so you're just going to choose your bridge. And then make sure everything looks good in here. So in CPU we want to do 486. We got our disk right there. 1 CD-ROM. Our first CD-ROM we want to use the Windows for Workgroups. And then we want to change our sound card to SoundBlaster. And we also want to add another sound card, which will be PC speaker. And then we want to add another CD-ROM, and for this one we're going to choose our driver ISO. Now this stuff will come in handy later. We're not going to use it right off the bat, but we will use our floppy device right off the bat. So we're going to go over here to Windows, and we're going to use disk image 1. Alrighty. Now for our network card. By default it's going to use 8139, which is what hypervisor default is, but we don't want to use that just yet. So we're gonna go ahead and click install. It's gonna fail. We're gonna force off. We're gonna go over here to we're gonna set our floppy as bootable, and then what we want to do is open our command prompt up and make sure you know what the name of your virtual machine is, because we're in root. We're gonna do virsh edit Windows 3.11, and this is our XML file. This is what Virt-manager uses the store configs. And we're going to scroll down here to our interface, our networking interface, because you can't select AMD's PCNet in the GUI. So we're just going to go in here and type in PCNet, and then we can exit out. You'll see that it's saved and it'll update in here. But see, you can't choose it. Sneaky. But now we can go ahead and start this up. And what I like to do is to scale display. Make it a little bigger. And we're just going to install it into DOS. And then once we get to this point, we'll change our floppy disk to disk 2. And then it'll get to this point and we'll do disk 3. And then we'll just hit enter, and then it'll restart the computer, and it'll say there's a disk error. So we'll force off and we'll change this to floppy drive. And then we'll come, we want to change our floppy drive at this point to our CD-ROM image. At this point, this is where our notes are going to come in handy, because we have to actually set up this driver by hand. So we'll go ahead and open up our notes. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to our A drive, check the directory. We can see our CD-ROM, our cd1.sys. We will copy cd1.sys to c/\DOS. One file copied. And then we can go over to our C drive. We can cd into DOS. We can do a directory to make sure it's there. You see it at the bottom. cd ... to go back. And then we're going to edit our config.sys. We'll come in here and we'll use device high equals c DOS cd1.sys /d mscd001. And then we'll come down here and we want to make our last drive equals z. And then we can, if I didn't screw anything up, that will be good. And then we'll edit our autoexec.bat. And we'll come down here to the bottom. We're going to type lh /d mscd001 /l:d. Oh, my hands are screwed up today. And then we'll exit. And if I did everything right, we'll have our CD-ROM drivers, which slow the system down quite a bit when CD-ROMs are in there. So as you can see, I didn't do it right. So I put an extra Z in here. Well, that's fine. You just change it and reset it. And having these CD-ROM drivers really make it really slow the system down quite a bit. So if you're not in the exact need to use a CD-ROM, you can just take the CDs out, so disconnect them, and then it'll be a whole lot faster. So I'll show you kind of what we mean by this. So we're going to go over here to D, and we're going to do a directory. Not ready reading drive D. Do I have a drive in there? I don't. So we can go ahead and put our Windows for Work groups in there. And then this time it'll read it. Also, while it's reading this, I'm going to show you some things. Here's some places where I got a lot of drivers from. Colonia's site has a bunch of old stuff for qemu. And then Zamba's VMware page has a bunch of drivers. you can download a pack. Most of my files are very similar to his. This is where I got a lot of them from. A lot of these are VMware specific, but they do work with qemu as well. And I'll put links to these in the description for you guys as well. So as you can see, this does take a long time to read stuff. So we're going to go ahead and hit up setup. And then it's checking for previous version of Windows, which if it found it, it would want us to either upgrade or put the new Windows in a different directory. In our case, it's not going to find anything, so we're just going to install. So setup Windows 3.11, press enter. Press setup, press enter. Alright, and now it's going to try to detect our network card, and that's going to fail, or it won't be able to, and we'll have to install the driver. Alright, we'll go ahead and put in our name. Continue. Continue. It's going to continue installing some of our files. And we don't need this anymore, so we can get rid of this. Pull this back down. Okay, we don't have a printer, so we're just going to click install. We want to go to networks, install Microsoft Windows Network, advanced, drivers, add adapter, unlisted, and then we're going to go to our driver CD that we put in, which is an E. Now we're going to use AMD PCNet. If you wanted to use E1000, you'd go to this one. If you're using RTL 8139, you'd use that one. But we're going to use the PCNet. And we're going to click on Windows for Workgroups 3.11. Okay, okay, okay. And there you can see our adapter. Now we want to add a protocol, or we won't be able to connect to the internet. We're going to do unlisted again. We're going to go to our driver CD, go to the root, and then come down here to TCB32B. Click OK. And then what we want to do is set that as the default protocol, and then enable DHCP on that. And then we can just click close and continue. Computer name we'll do, and we'll just let it finish in installing. For this we'll click MS-DOS editor OK. This one we want to do none of the above, and then for this one we'll do OK. Skip the tutorial, restart the computer. Now before we go into Windows, we want to install our sound card driver, which will give us sound, of course. So we'll install that, and then when we boot back into Windows, you'll be able to hear the logon sound. Well, you should. We'll see. It worked last time I did this, so. As you can see, this does take some time. So we want to go to our driver disk, do a directory, see what we got in here. Alright, and now we want to do CD SoundBlaster16, and then we'll do install. And then we're going to install the audio software, hit enter. It's going to make it. This is why we wanted to install Windows first, because it wants to do a Windows path, so we're just going to press enter. It's checking the audio card, and we want to just accept the defaults. And then it will give us what files it's going to change. We can just hit enter because all that's fine. And then it's going to pop up and it's going to want us to make a backup of a file or skip. We're just going to hit with the proceed. And then we want to reboot for F10. And then we wait on it to drop to a prompt again. So you can see our sound card is loading. Alright, any day now. And then we should, now when we load into Windows, we should have networking, sound, everything should be good. So we'll see if we get any errors if we hear the sound. Okay, so that was kind of loud, but it's okay. And the networking driver is what gives it this little graphical bug. I don't know why, but we're gonna click OK. Ooh, I'm gonna hit no. I think that might be louder for me than you guys. Alright, so we'll go over here. So you can see we get that. And you can see we can ping google.com. That's pretty cool, right? And we have sound. So now we can just do some things in here. Like go over to our driver's disk and we can get some programs and such. We're going to be installing the best of Windows Entertainment Pack, and I'm going to try out the Internet Explorer. You can get some, you can get different kinds of internet programs. So like Netscape was big during this time. You just see what's compatible with Windows 3.11, and you can use that ISO image to make whichever one you want to put on there. But we're going to go to disk 1, and we're going to go ahead and set up this. Alright, so this will install our games. Alrighty, and here you can see our games. We'll get into those in a bit. I really want to try out this IE. It may work, it may not. Alright, we'll click next. We'll accept the agreement. Next. We'll do a full, yeah, let's do a full install. Or we'll do a standard. We just want IE. I guess we could do a full install if you want to try to like set up mail or something, but I don't know how well that would work. I got me a little cat right here. He wants to be in the picture too. Oh, we got a reboot for that? Well, alright, well that's okay. We'll just let it reboot and see what happens. It does take a long time with the CD drivers. I should have took them out on this one because I don't think we're going to be needing them again, but that's okay. We're already here, so. We're going to click OK again. No. So it's setting up our Internet Explorer. Time zone, we'll just pick Eastern. And then we can run it and see what happens. Okay, we're going to tell it, we're going to get a lot of errors. An error has occurred. Alright, well, IE does not work. But you can play around and see which ones do work. I have got them to work in the past. But we can play Chips Challenge. This is a game with sound. And, you know, of course, ski free. Everyone knows this game. But that's how you install Windows 3.11 with working networking. Our IE program obviously doesn't work, but you can always get Netscape. I'll probably do that later and get it set up and working. But everything is here. It's a full Windows 3.11 install. We got, let's see, accessories. We got the paintbrush. And this is my install video, guys. If you enjoyed the tutorial, please subscribe and like the video. I'll be doing more content, obviously. I want to do a whole bunch of videos, and if there's something you want to see done, go ahead and you can put it in the comments, and I will look into doing it. If I can't figure it out, I will try my best to figure it out. Thank you for watching.